Right, I guess the moment of truth. Right, hello folks. Hope this is working properly. Just doing a bit more testing this time. I'm doing, of course. Hopefully, you just see me. Is this working properly? Is it too loud, too quiet? Is the picture quality okay? I really don't know. Yes, as I'm saying, I'm just doing a little bit of testing at the moment. I've been doing the last bit of testing on Twitch, and now I'm doing a bit of testing on YouTube, a bit of streaming. I've got, of course, for people who don't know, I've got a brand new Elgato HD60S thing, and I want to make still tinkering the bunch of settings and stuff. I don't know whether this is. Ooh, it's peaking a bit too much there. Hopefully that's okay. Again, I'm still fairly a bit of a novice when it comes to this streaming sort of thing. Hopefully got the pitch right, and hopefully you can hear the game audio okay. Still, there's all sorts of things I'm still tinkering with at the moment. Basically, I've been trying to get my Elgato to work with Windows 7, and I've sort of got it working. I'm using Windows 7 now, but I'm using like an older version of the Elgato capture software, and it's a bit buggy. Unfortunately, Elgato don't want you to use their capture card with Windows 7 for some bizarre reason. So they only want you to use it on Windows 10, but you can get it to work on Windows 7, sort of, using a rather clever workaround on like an older version of the capture software. But the downside is the driver doesn't work properly with OBS and Windows 7, unfortunately. So I have to use if I want to use Windows 7, I have to use their Elgato's own software, which is a little bit basic, unfortunately. But for my uses, it's probably enough, really. But as I'm saying, I'm still getting to grips with it. I'm still doing a bunch of tests, and hopefully, if I've got this set up correctly, it's actually recording the video directly to my hard drive, and I can actually use the footage later on, which I might not do. But as I'm saying, I'm still doing a bunch of testing. So you should be seeing me live on YouTube. I don't know whether if people can see me or not. I do remember a good reason why I stopped doing streams to YouTube, because like a while ago they basically made you set up a separate account, and like my account sort of fucked up, really. I don't even know if it's broadcasted to the right account or whether it's to my oh, it's actually appeared there, right? So I am live by the looks of it. But yes, it's streaming. I'm still quite new to this, so I'm just testing my Super Nintendo with my Elgato at the moment. See, hopefully it's okay. Do let me know if the audio's okay. If it's too loud, too quiet, do let me know in the comments below or whatever. What beside is it? I don't know whether I've got this. There's the preview right there. I can see it on the other screen. I don't know whether the bitrate's is good enough. I don't know whether I need to increase it or not. It looks okay. It's not fantastic, but again, I don't know what the optimum amount is. And it does actually tell me how many viewers I've got. It's basically, I'm watching myself. Basically, got one viewer. Yeah, right. So hopefully, some people will join me, but we'll have to see. But even if people don't, that's fine. I'm just doing few bits and making sure everything's working properly. So I don't know whether YouTube is the best to stream to, or Twitch is the best to stream to. But I'll have a play around with the settings and whatnot and see what I can come up with. But let's get to it then. Now I am using, of course, playing my Super. This is an original Super Nintendo. I'm not actually using an emulator. It does have a really good picture quality to it, simply because I'm playing through a HD upscaler known as the FrameMeister, which basically makes all your classic games look amazing, and it scales up all the games correctly. So that's why I'm using this, and I'm currently playing the American version of the game, because like it basically runs at a faster speed than the PAL counterpart. So that's why I tend to play NTSC games more often than what's it called, PAL games. So that's what I'm playing on my European Super Nintendo with a SD to SNES flash cart, as it were. Let's just increase the game volume. It's probably a bit too quiet. And I have got ducking enabled as well, so I don't know whether that's affecting it. I'll find out soon enough if it's a bit too quiet or too loud. Rightio. Now, I'm rather fond of Donkey Kong Country. I wouldn't say it was my favourite, but definitely out of the three, I would say Donkey Kong Country 2 is the best, followed closely by the first one, then the third. But then again, I haven't played 3 in quite a long time, actually. It's the one I'm least familiar with. I've played 1 and 2 the most, but I think 2's probably, out of the 2, if I were to get the first 2 games anyway, I think 2's the strongest, simply because the well, another thing, I think like it's just like the way everything's laid out is a bit stronger than the first one. But the first one is a very, very good game as I'm playing it right now. But I would say 2's got the way things are designed. It makes more sense in terms of the secrets and stuff like that. And the way that the levels are designed, if you were to ask me, I think it's generally more interesting overall. But Donkey Kong Country 1 definitely has its charms, and it still is a revolutionary game for its time with its pre-rendered animations and sprites. It was compared to, because of course I'm a Nintendo guy compared to more of a Sega kind of guy. I never really had a Mega Drive. I always had Nintendo consoles. So I would say that anyway. But Super Nintendo at the time in '94, it represented. It sort of had more to give than the Sega Mega Drive, if that makes sense at that point in time, where the Sega Mega Drive was sort of running out of steam in terms of like hardware capabilities, and like it was falling behind by 1994. But whereas the Super Nintendo with Donkey Kong Country and so on, it still had a few years left in the tank at that point, even though it was already been out for 4 years at that point. It was released in 1990. But like with its pre-rendered graphics, like nothing, like it completely blew what the Mega Drive can do out of the water. It was crazy, and it's still considered one of the best platformers ever created, and I can totally understand why that is the case. Again, so if any of you I'm probably not going to watch this live, of course, but if any of you watch the maybe like watching the recording of this on YouTube, let me know of like if the settings need adjusting. By the looks of it, I think I could probably crank the video settings a bit higher. It's a little bit pixelated. It's not terrible, but it's okay. I can probably crank up the megabits a bit, the picture quality up a bit more, and the webcam in the corner's a bit blurry. But I will have a look at that. At least it is streaming at 60 frames per second by the looks of it, and getting a nice frame rate. It is really surreal for me to record anything in 60 frames per second, really, because I've always recorded stuff in 30 frames per second. I never really I don't know, like my camera can't do 60 FPS, not my HD camera. It's a bit dated, so. But yes.